We all reach a certain point in our lives where we want to advance, we want to change, we want to transform. We want to experience something new in our lives. And before these things happen, we have to transform ourselves. And today I want to talk about like the four key pillars of conscious, lasting transformation. You can think about how you want to transform, but if you don't take certain actions to support this level of transformation, usually it won't just come that easily. And the first thing I want to talk about is self awareness, right? Self awareness. Self awareness essentially is about what it says, to be aware of yourself, to be able to look at yourself and see yourself in a clear light. Most of us don't even think about ourselves as something that can be viewed from a higher perspective. When you take time, when you meditate and you have certain experiences, you realize that there is an there's an I am, right? That can experience the individualized I self that does different things which I identify with. So usually most of us will identify with this this egoic self, but there is an I am that lies beyond that. And you can use this I am, this awareness, this higher consciousness that lies beyond identity to become aware of who you identify yourself as. So the first thing is having that self-awareness, being able to look at yourself, being able to examine yourself and to see the different patterns, the different grooves, the different ways in which you identify yourself and how you think of yourself. When you have this self-awareness, then you are able to use the next pillar, which I call self-honesty. To self-honesty. To see yourself is one thing, but to be honest about what you see is another thing. When you look at yourself, you need to be able to look at yourself in a light of honesty. Be frank with yourself, because you may be examining yourself and you may see certain things that you do that maybe in the beginning you are in denial of because you don't usually identify yourself with that personality, because maybe you see it as a bad trait or a not so good trait. But self-honesty is what will allow the transformation, because you are feeling the need to transform, because you are feeling like, I don't want to be this anymore. So in order for you to get to the next stage of who you want to be, you need to be aware and you need to be honest with what you're viewing. Because sometimes seeing yourself through the light of awareness can be painful, because you may see certain attributes that perhaps you're not too happy with yourself about. Let's say you want to relate to people better. Let's say you're a man and you want to change how you relate to the opposite sex, right? When you want to start off with that change, you have to begin with that awareness of looking at some of the ways in which you're interacting with the opposite sex that you feel you'd like to change. And in order for you to get onto those steps of changing, you have to be honest with yourself from that awareness, because when the light of awareness shines on the situation, you have to be honest about what you're seeing. And sometimes that honesty comes with a sort of reflection that makes you look at yourself, and in the beginning you may feel bad because you're like, man, this is how I've been relating to this person or these people and I want to change. Without that honesty, you can't take the next few steps. You need that honesty, because the honesty is what allows you to split the old self and the new self. So the honesty will let you look at one part of you and be like, okay, this is what I see right now, and this is why I actually want to embark on that change. So you begin with self-awareness, and in that awareness, you have to be honest with yourself. And in that honesty, right, is also tied together with accountability. So that's the third step, self-accountability. Self-accountability. I'm hoping you can see what I've written on the board. This is the first time I'm trying it, so we'll see if it works out or not. But self-accountability is, in some sense, self-responsibility, taking responsibility for your actions. even if these are things that maybe may bring you some level of shame that you may look at and be sad that you used to do that, or be sad that that is how you operate, it's important to take accountability for your actions. Because when you don't take accountability for your actions, you may try to pin it on another person or another group. And in that sense, what happens is you are saying that you are not the one who did it, but they did it, or they caused you to do whatever it is you're trying to change, or someone else caused you to have the habits that you have. Well, if someone was the one who caused the habits that you have, then what's the point of you changing? You might as well stay the same and hope that they change, right? But like I said, this is about self transformation. It's about changing yourself to become new, realizing who you are right now, which you would like to transform. So you have to become aware, you have to be honest with yourself, and in that honesty, be accountable. Some of the things that maybe you would like to change, that you feel like you've done to harm people or to harm yourself, may be tough pills to swallow, because it's not something that you want to look at yourself in that way. And again, when you're going through this process, you realize that your identity, which you have to become aware of, is attached to some of these labels you may have of yourself. So if you see yourself as a good person, kind person, and now in that awareness and in that honesty, you see that some of your actions were not necessarily kind or good, it's hard for you to take accountability for those actions, because you don't want to be tied to those actions, because tying yourself to those actions give you a negative identity different from what you thought you were. So self-accountability is very important. In fact, I feel like this is one of the most important things, because it's about claiming those actions and claiming them and seeing them as part of the old self which you are looking to transform. Because the thing is, if you're looking to transform from this self to a new self, you have to see the entirety of the old self and what it is in its wholeness. And whatever it is in its wholeness will include the things that you have to be accountable for. So you have to look at everything about it, be honest about it, and have that level of accountability. Because the accountability also allows you to embrace the new path that you're going on, that new path of transformation, to say, you know what, this is how I was, or this is how I feel like I am, and this is the transformation I want to happen in my life. This is who I want to become. This is the new I am that I'm taking onto myself. So the accountability is very important, because it allows you to help, once again, define what it is that you would like to change, which will allow you to clearly define the new you. So these three things: self-awareness, self-honesty, and self-accountability. And the fourth one, which for me makes all the difference, right, is action. So you can become aware of this, you can be honest with yourself, and you can take in that accountability and say, okay, this is what was happening, this is who I was, and this is who I want to become. But in order to become, you need to take action. You can't just stay in the realm of thoughts or in the realm of just feeling and think you're going to change. Of course, those aspects also play their role, because in changing how you think, you're beginning the process of changing your vibration, and it will change and affect how you feel. But we are thinking, feeling, and acting beings. That's why we exist in this three-dimensional reality in the physical form, as souls manifested in the physical form. The realm that we're in involves action. You need to take action for things to happen. So action or activity is the last, should I say, ingredient that brings the three above together to form like a four-pronged pillar that can hold and sustain this true conscious transformation. You know, if you just continue to just see yourself and just become aware of it, you might even be plagued by the heaviness of how maybe you identified yourself as. And the more you're probably even staying in that, it might become heavy on you because you may think, man, how do I change who I am into this new person? I can see that I do this. I can see that I affect people this way. I can see that I'm hindering myself in this way. I can see that these are the things about me or about my vibration, about who I identify as at this very moment, that are making it difficult for me to transform into the new self or the new vision of myself that I see. So you don't stay there. You don't stay in the wallowing, in the thinking and the feeling. You have to take action, because action is what will carry those vibrations into the physical realm for things to be able to take place. So now, I mean, I'm using the word action, but action that is being birthed from these realizations, the awareness, the honesty, and accountability. You take action to become new. So if you're faced with a situation, right, that would probably trigger your old self so that you remain the person you were, your new action is what will allow you to rewrite your program, rewrite your vibration to say, I am no longer this person. Let's say, for example, you've gone to a point in your life where you feel like you have bad eating habits, right? And you feel like you've gone to a point where your health is not really performing at its highest, and you think you would like to change. You want to live a healthier life. You know, you want to go to the gym, be conscious about what you're putting into your body, and so on and so forth. You begin with first becoming aware of it, and then becoming honest about it. Like, I actually have habits that are not serving my health. My health is in this poor shape because this is what I've been doing. And I know it now because I become aware of it. I've been studying myself. And now I'm being honest about it. And I have to be accountable to it because I put those things into my body. I'm the one who formed these bad habits that has gotten me to this point. So now, with the combination of the awareness and the honesty and the accountability, you use this information to birth new actions. So if you had old habits where, for example, maybe you were always eating like oily junk food, processed foods late in the night, like 11 p.m. and so on and so forth, in this process of transforming yourself, you will get to a point where those cravings from the old self may come up again. And in those very moments, you have to take action. So the question becomes, what action do you take? Do you act like you used to do before and you go and say, oh, I'm hungry, I just need to grab something, and you eat? Or do you let your actions be new actions that are coming from the new awareness, the honesty, and accountability? The action you take will decide or will determine who you become next. Because if you take the old actions, you're in the old vibration, so you just keep repeating the same cycle, and you end up being the same unhealthy version of yourself. But if you take new actions, which are born from the honesty and the accountability, in those moments, though they may be difficult for you, you may say, you know what, I am now aware that these are some of the things I do that's causing my poor health. I can be honest with myself and see that this is who I was and that's how I got here. And in that honesty, you're taking accountability for the fact that you caused it, you created the reality. So now, in this new light of awareness, in this new information you have, you will take action to say, let me put the snacks to the side. Matter of fact, let me throw the snacks away, the junk food away. And it's 11 p.m. Maybe I'll drink some water, or maybe I'll just go to bed. This is a new action. And this new action is one that is coming from the three realizations that I've pointed about. And why I'm saying this formula or these tools or these principles are very important for conscious, lasting, true transformation is that it's not a one-time thing. You know, it's a continuous process. Transformation, there's a reason we're calling it transformation, not just transformed. It continues to happen. It will continue to come over and over again because you may face different parts of your life where you want to transform, where you want to change. And whenever you meet those new milestones, those new yearnings to become more, you can always apply this. You can always start by looking at the situation from a standpoint of your higher self or your higher mind, to look at your current self, your current identity, and say, okay, what am I right now? What am I doing? And how is my current identity causing this current situation? Essentially, what is the vibration that I'm in this very moment? And from that step, you move to the honesty, and you move to the accountability, and then you take action. And then the action that you take will then feed back into that self-awareness, because now when you take a new action, now you become aware of the actions that you're taking. So now you put that same scrutiny of self-awareness back into the new actions. You become honest about the new actions, you take accountability, and so on and so forth, and the cycle continues over and over again. And that is why this type of transformation is lasting, because it is a continuous activity that you are always participating in, and is also conscious. So you are not just leaving yourself and praying for change. You are actually being the change. You are the enforcer of the change. You are the activity itself, the changing activity itself. It's coming from you. And the insights from the awareness and the honesty are just helping you to support it, so that you can take action from that standpoint. Because if you just take action from ignorance, or you take action from maybe hoping somebody else will pray for you or change you or something like that, it probably will end at action. It will end at action, because you may take one action and you think, oh, something should have changed. Maybe somebody prayed for me and I should be healed. And you realize that, well, nothing is happening. And you realize that nothing is happening, or something is happening, when you go back to the self-awareness. So the loop has to always go continuously and continue to refine itself, because you've taken the action and now you're checking in on yourself over and over again. And as you cultivate this habit, you're actually developing a new way of seeing, a new way of operating. And this allows you to not work on just one part of yourself, but different parts of yourself that you'd want to transform. Be it you want to step into a rich vibration, a wealthy vibration. Be it you want to step into your creative self, your loving self, your more emotional, caring self. These tools will allow you to be able to do that, and do it consciously. Because when you do it consciously, you see it. You don't lie to yourself. No one can deceive you. And the thing about us as human beings is, once we begin to step into the light of awareness, and we're honest with ourselves, and we take accountability and we take responsibility, we see things clear. And even when we are lying to ourselves, we can know this. We can't hide from it. So once you operate in this way, with that clearness and that clarity and that true reflection and true accountability and honesty with yourself, and you continue to take action from that point and continue to refine it over and over again, you will develop a new being that is in alignment and in tune with transformation, conscious transformation. And you will have something in your hands that will allow you to transform yourself over and over again into the new heights, into the new visions of yourself that you seek for yourself, so that you can achieve all that you want to achieve. And you live the life of your dreams. But remember, it's all about your action. You can't expect anybody outside of yourself to transform you. The only person who can change you is you, and you have to take responsibility. You have to hold on to that responsibility, your ability to respond to whatever is happening to you, and you have to do it in honesty and under the light of clarity and awareness. So this is the message I have for you today. I hope it's been helpful to you. If you have any feedback, comments, or questions, please do leave them in the comment section, and I hope to share the next video and continue to share different tools that can help you wake up to who you are, wake up to your true power as a powerful being, and live in this life and live the best life that you seek for yourself. Take care and have a wonderful day. Peace.